Welcome to self-discoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Building Your Business right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my guest today is Heidi Schalk. We're going to be talking about the kind of beautiful thing about discovering yourself, and she has a podcast which she calls Be She, and I liked that title and talking about that today, about being yourself, being the empowerment of yourself. She said she started her entrepreneurial journey 6 years ago while she was going through a divorce. Those divorces are always a pivot in a new direction. She had previously been a stay-at-home mom and needed to financially find a way to take care of herself, her kids, animals, and home. However, one thing that was non-negotiable for her is she wanted to be home with her kids, and that was her why. Her why made her cry, and she came across an opportunity to learn how to become a coach online, helping others. She believed that this was the opportunity for to provide with financial support and be able to stay at home with her kids. And she worked 2 jobs while she was building a business. Since she started her business, it's evolved from being a transformational success coach to a business strategy coach. This is for women who are going through challenges and adversity and have a calling on the heart to make a difference for others. She had a big fear of being or don't, sorry, let me get that right again. She have a big fear of being seen or heard or not being seen or heard. And when she started her business, which held her back, she wanted to support and empower women to shine their light in the world and build successful businesses so they can create that life they've always desired for themselves and their loved ones. She is a strategy and leadership coach, an author, a speaker, a host of Be She podcast, which I love that, which is be seen, be heard, be empowered. Beautiful. She has been featured on Fox, ABC, NBC, CBS, the Daily Herald, and many, many more. And so clearly she's hit her stride and she's really going in the right direction. And, as hard as a pivot of a divorce is, to actually have a divorce, but then be put on the right path is actually quite extraordinary. And it's come such at a perfect time because a young friend of my daughter's today has just announced she's getting a divorce. And she's in that transition. I've got to find work. I need to stay at home with the kids. This is for her. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The entrepreneur that wants to stay at home. But it's kind of making lemonade out of the lemons, isn't it? Some people do get crippled by the divorce, and because their identity is so wrapped up in
Mhm.
the identity of being a Mrs. That I think one of the things is coming out of a divorce and looking at your path to be empowered is who are you now? You're not the same person that got married. You have kids, you've evolved. Who are you now? What do you have in your arsenal bag right now? And where do you really want to go? And we really need to pause and ask ourselves these questions, don't we, Heidi?
Mhm.
Welcome to the show.
Uh, Thank you, Sarah, for having me. And I'm so grateful to be here and have this conversation. And what amazing intro. So thank you. Yes, it's really important to ask yourself these questions. And that's where it starts. So whenever any challenges arise, whether it's going through divorce, and I feel
Mhm.
for your daughter, is it your daughter's friend
It's
you were
my
sharing?
daughter's friend, yes.
Yes. It's scary. And it was very scary for me, especially because like I said, I was a stay-at-home mom. I did work for a nonprofit, but it
Hmm.
wasn't an income that could
Right.
sustain me. And I could work from home and I could do it. It was 5 to 10 hours a month, like
Yeah.
nothing. Right. So when I was going through this, I was really, really scared, very nervous. How am I going to provide for myself and my kids and keep a roof over our heads? And we had 5 animals at the time. So I
Mm.
had a lot of responsibility and
Big
a lot of
family.
pressure. Been a big family, yeah.
Yeah.
And so asking yourself those questions and really tapping into your vision, which I love that you asking those questions really helps you get clear on your
Mm.
vision. And we can't get anywhere without knowing where we want to go. So it's really important. The first thing is really tapping into what does your vision look like for you and your life, for your life. And if you have children on top of that, what does your vision look like for you and your children and your life?
Mm-hmm. I mean, we, as I said, we get very wrapped up in the identity of being the missus, and now suddenly
Mm.
that identity is not there anymore. The partnership is not there anymore, and and I think kind of one of the first and foremost things is knowing who are you before you know why or where you want to go, because we're not the same person as when we put the ring on it, it will
Mm.
became a mother or anything else. It's like knowing who you are, really taking a good look at who you are, and also maybe what you have um, not paid attention to along the line. You've sacrificed for the marriage, or in trying to make it work, you've bent over backwards, and it's now time for you to kind of come forward and stand straight and tall in who you are. But you can't see that vision for yourself. You don't know the path before you until you know who you really are in the now.
Mm. Very true. And that's a journey
Hmm.
and a process. And I want to share that because it's not something that you're going to get clear on in one day.
No.
So give yourself grace. I know that like it's easy for us to compare ourselves to others, especially if we're going through a divorce or something like a big transformation like that, because we could feel like a failure
Yes.
amongst other families that are, they're married, especially for my kids, they were very young at the time. So their friends, all their family, all their parents were married. So it was easy for me to go, or I could have been like, I'm a failure,
Mm,
and cower back and,
yeah.
and kind of hide. And instead, I'm like, no, I get to figure out where we're going from here.
Mm,
So just having some goals and having a vision of where I wanted to go, that helped me also figure out who I was.
yeah.
Because you're right, when we're married, that's an identity. When we're
Yes.
when we're a wife, that's part of our identity. When we're a mom, that's part of our identity. And we can lose the identity of a woman
Mm,
along
yes.
that journey because we're so busy taking care of so many people besides ourselves that we tend to put ourselves on the back burner, which I
Mm,
did.
hmm.
And that was something that over the years I got to learn how to put me first in
Hmm.
order to and take care of myself in order to be able to take care of my kids and also take care of my business and take care of my clients. Because if I wasn't taking care of myself first, like put that
Yeah.
oxygen mask, and I know that we all hear it and
Mm,
it can sound cliche, but it took me years to really believe that
yeah.
and understand that and go, you know what, I do, because it felt selfish to me. It
Hmm.
felt
I know.
selfish.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I bet that's
But in,
part of the culture that's taught us that it's selfish, right? Which is no,
yes,
it's self-care.
absolutely. And now I see it as selfless. So I
Yes.
transitioned from selfish to selfless, but it was a journey.
Mm,
And I now think of self-care. Self-care was a big challenge for me. And
mm,
I'll be transparent. I'm not gonna hide it. It's still a process
yeah.
for me to make sure that I'm prioritizing self-care. And self-care to me equals self-awareness. The
Yes.
more that we're taking care of ourselves, the more we're becoming self-aware of what our needs are. And once we can recognize when we're getting overrun or
Yeah.
overworked
Mm,
or overdoing it, and we need that like red light or that yellow light starts flashing and goes, whoa, it's time to like step back. And how can you take care of yourself in this moment? But that journey of really learning who you are is a process. And yes, I lost that identity of
yeah.
wife. I
Hmm.
lost that identity of wife. And it's still something 6 years later, I'm still navigating as
Hmm.
I'm moving, like learning how to, um, getting into the dating space, right?
Yes.
That's a new identity now.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm a mother and a grandmother and a divorcee. Um, the thing is, when you get divorced, you're not single in the way that you remember single. Because BC, before children, now you
Mhm.
have children and a whole load of animals running around, and you've got the big R now, responsibility, right? And
Mhm.
you're not sharing that responsibility necessarily. It depends on how amenable the divorce is, but it feels like it's on your shoulders, and it's so easy to go, well, as long as the kids are okay, it doesn't matter if I suffer. And it's actually my kids that pointed that out on me. This is enough, Mom.
Mhm.
This is enough. Time to put
Mhm.
yourself first. And it's hard to do that when you've got little faces looking at you, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't, and you burn out, and you're tensing up and you're always and anxious and overwhelmed and everything else, you're going to go down that spiral that depletes you and does not serve them. And how can you run
Mhm.
a business that way? You can't. You have to fortify yourself. You have to say, okay, no to certain things. Just do the bare minimum that you have to do, and that other time is invested in you. Because in that discovery of you and who you are now and where you want to go, how do you know what the passion is? How do you know what the vision is if you're so crunched down in anxiety, right? Or in duty. So it is important to oxygenate yourself. It is important for that self-care because as you step into that, those little epiphanies come up of the
Yeah,
vision that you want and go, that's a great idea. That is something that's needed. Is this a path that I can take? Because from always the sorrow, comes tomorrow. So, it's
love that.
it's it's something that will show us the way if we're willing to uncrunch and open up.
Absolutely. I love that. That is amazing. Sarah, from the sorrow comes tomorrow. I love that. I've never heard that before, and that's just
I've
brilliant
never
to
said
me.
it before, so I don't know. Just came
And
out.
see, it's flowing from you. It's flowing. It's beautiful. And I want to say it's really beautiful and special how your children were that aware to
Yeah.
like bring that
But
to
they were older,
your to
obviously, too. They were
yes. Mhm.
teenagers. So, but yes. But
Yeah.
but don't undermine the little children,
Mm-mm.
right? Never undermine
They
just
know
because
a
they're,
lot.
oh my God, do they? Pay
They know a
attention to them
lot.
because even if they can't say it in words, they're saying it in action. Right. And
Mhm.
but it is important, isn't it, that how can you serve them? How can you serve any business? How can you serve a vision if you're still in the turmoil? So it's taking those breaths and doing that work to get into that peace space. Because, everybody that's really good at what they do today, it came from some form of sorrow and them seeing a need that they needed that they now apply. They've applied to their lives. Now they help other people apply it to their lives. Have you found
Mhm.
that in your transition from being, the transformational coach to the business coach, it's something you saw that was needed that you decided to take that path?
Absolutely. Actually, my clients were the ones that needed that. I was working with female women who were moving through a transformation. They wanted to set goals and they had these specific goals that they had for themselves, and they were all different.
Hmm.
And they were all beautiful and amazing and specific to them. And we would move through those goals and they would start achieving them because that's my job is to
Yeah.
help them make sure that they stay on track, hold accountability for them and get them to achieve them. And most of them, not all of them, the majority of them wanted to start businesses. That was
Mm.
where that evolution
Yeah.
came from. So I tell everybody when you're starting a business, no matter where your starting point is, just be open to the journey because you
Mm.
never know what doors are going to open and how
Yeah.
that's going to evolve. And where you are now today doesn't mean you're going to be here in 2 years. Doesn't mean it's going to look the same as it does now in 2 years or 5 years or even 10 years.
Yeah.
But my clients wanted to start businesses. And they wanted to continue working with me because they saw me build my business.
Yes.
So that's how my evolution happened, where I went from goal setting and transformational coach into business strategy coach.
Yeah.
And I still work with female entrepreneurs. It's deep in my heart
Mm.
because that was something that I needed to figure out
Yeah.
when I was moving through my divorce. I was working two jobs as I started my business. I found coaching online and I know that it was sent to me for me to
Mm.
find that because I didn't
Mm.
even know it existed
Hmm.
because my why was so strong. And
Yeah.
you shared when you introduced me that there was a why that made me cry. And I tell all
Mm.
my clients when I onboard new clients, we get deep into their why.
Yeah.
And most of them will say, I want to make money. That's great.
Mm.
That's awesome. I want to make money too. So do you.
Mm.
Everybody wants to make money, but it gets to go deeper because at the end of the day, entrepreneurship, the journey is not easy.
Nope.
If anybody tells you it is, call them out on it because it's not. You better run because it's not. I'm the first one to say it. But we
Yes.
can simplify the process. But
Yeah.
when those tough days show up for us, and they
Mm.
will, they
Hmm.
do, when they show up for us, we need to know what our why is so we
Yeah.
can reconnect to it to keep it
Yes.
going. And my why, and that's where it gets to tug on our heartstrings and it gets to bring tears to our eyes. And that's why I say, find the why that makes you cry. And when I ask you that why, if I don't see emotion, we
Mm.
keep going. We keep going till
Yeah.
the emotion starts coming forward, because that's what you get to reconnect with to make sure that you're going to stay on this path. 90% of businesses fail, and I'm determined to change that number, to decrease
Mm.
that number. And my why that kept me going during the hard times, and this has been 6 years, I've had many challenging times along the way. We all will,
Mm.
we all do and will,
Mm.
was knowing that I wanted to be home with my kids. I
Yes.
wanted to be able to take them to school. I wanted to pick them up. I wanted to be able to take them to their activities. And I wanted to be able to have that flexibility. If my child calls me sick,
Yeah. Yeah.
hurt or sick from school, which happened 2 days ago,
Mm-hmm.
I have the flexibility to go pick them up
Yeah.
and do those
Exactly.
things.
Because
Mhm.
first and foremost, a mother, that is a full-time job. People
Yeah.
don't realize that. Being a parent is a full-time job, and they don't keep 9 to 5 hours, right? They're 24/7. Right.
Yes.
So unless somebody takes them off your hand for a weekend where you've got reprieve, they're there all the time. And so,
Mhm.
yes, we have to be flexible to their needs because they're not out to get you. If it is just life, sickness happens, this happens, everything happens. And so we have to be flexible because if we're not, we're going to break. So we've got to learn how to bend, which is really
Yes.
important. But I call
Mhm.
these the why shows. Why are you doing what you're doing and whom does it serve? And I would say the best teachers are those that have learned the lesson along the way. Um, whether they've been taught it or whether they discovered it, they've learned, what works for them, and this is what they're sharing with others. And that's the important thing is your why becomes, I want somebody else to get through this quicker than I did, or, discover
Mhm.
faster, step into their awesomeness, because that's the exciting part when you see somebody, as you said, they suddenly connect with their why. Why do I want to do this? My heart is in it. My emotion is in it. You can feel everything about them rise up in their energy, right?
Mhm.
And the enthusiasm and the emotion that comes in behind it. When you've got that kind of emotion, that's the kind of why to start really investigating. Because if it moves you, it's going to end up moving other people.
Absolutely. And so for me, there's two whys. And I'm glad you brought this up, because my why to keep my business going when I
Mm-hmm.
started, and to keep pushing forward and persevering, was my children,
Mm-hmm.
was having, so I could stop working 2 jobs and
Yeah.
stop running that rat race and be home with them. And also I wanted to be I wanted to be a role model for them.
Yeah.
Their world is so much different than our world was. They have
Yes.
so many more so many more, in my opinion, and different opportunities than we had. And I
Mm.
want to share with them, like, if you have a dream on your heart and you want to do something, go after it. You can do it. And if I was running that rat race consistently and working 2 jobs and not being able to be there for them
Mm.
in the way that I wanted to, and going after my dreams of creating this business, the empire, I will call it, that I
Yes.
want to create, and legacy, then they may not believe that they can do it themselves and go after their dreams. Now,
Yeah.
working with female entrepreneurs, the why that drives me there and gets me fired up and gets me emotional is that if there's a woman out there that has a calling on their heart, and
Yeah.
yes, they're a wife, right? They're a
Yeah.
wife, or they're a partner, they've got children, they're juggling all the hats, right? Because we juggle a
Mm.
lot of hats. They're also a sister, they're a daughter,
Mm.
they're an aunt, whatever those roles are. If they have a calling on their heart, I don't want them to crush it
No.
because they feel like, I have all this going on first. I need to take care of everybody else. My dream can wait, or
Yeah.
it can be put down. Absolutely not. And I want to make sure, I want to empower women that if you have a calling on your heart and you have a message to put out there, I don't care if you're an introvert like me and scared to death, because that's what I was.
Mm-hmm.
I want to support you in getting them there no matter what it takes. So that's what fires me up every day, to help female entrepreneurs build businesses that they truly love and are
Yes.
passionate about, not building just because you want to build one. Build it, that's because it's truly a calling on your heart, that you can make a difference for someone else in this world. And I want to share with them that the belief, if they don't have it in themselves, I'm here to believe in them more than they do, to say, somebody's
Yes.
waiting for you, somebody's waiting for your message. Let's get it out there so you can help others, so they're
Mm-hmm.
not staying stuck. Because if you're not putting it out there,
Mm-hmm.
somebody's somebody
Yeah.
is staying stuck.
Exactly, exactly. And you mentioned like the money. Yes, of course. We all need money, roof over the head, etc., etc. But the money per se should never be the goal, right? It's
Mhm.
the byproduct of what you're
Yes,
doing. When you change the dialogue to "I want to enrich" and help people become abundant, the money will follow, right?
absolutely.
And it's like, what are we looking for in our own personal lives that we don't have? We're looking for an enrichment. We're looking for that feeling of abundance. A, we're enough. B, we're contributors.
Mhm.
We are motivators. We are inspirers. We are illuminators. And it's how do we switch that light on? How do we
Yes.
find something that is our vehicle or our instrument in order
Mhm.
to learn how to play, to join the orchestra and become that beautiful symphony? How do we become that with that passion and become that light for other people? We've got to
Mhm.
switch the light on in ourselves first. And it's there waiting for it's dormant. For
Mhm.
everybody that stepped into what they're doing today, that's passion, was somewhere along the line something they loved to do, maybe as a child or earlier on, that they suppressed because they followed these shoulds. You should do this,
Mhm.
you should do that. And instead of you can do this, you can do that. Right. And no
Yeah.
experience is wasted. Whatever you did before, you just take those skills and now apply it to the passion. We can't see the
Yes.
passion if we're still in pain. So, with that process of releasing the pain and allowing the passion to come in, that passion is what's going to ignite you, enrich you, and set you on that why path.
Mhm. Yeah, if you that's why I'm like I'm so driven. If somebody has a calling, I don't want them to be scared because it is hard. If even
Hmm.
though to
Hmm.
shine your light, it can be
Yes.
really scary to shine your light. And there are so many dreams that people have that they push down because they're so scared of putting themselves out there. And I'm an introvert, and most
Hmm.
people don't realize that when they meet me because I'm very visible. I'm here with you, and you're shining your light, and I'm so grateful that you are, and you're putting this message out to people because I think more women
Mm.
need to hear it more often because we can hear it once, we can hear it twice, but sometimes we need to hear it 67 times, right?
Yes.
And if you have a calling on your heart, find someone.
Mm.
Find someone that's going to hold you accountable and be able to push you forward and support you in that journey. And that's not always our family.
Oh
Unfortunately,
gosh, no, no.
it's not
Yeah,
always the people closest to us.
yeah.
And it doesn't mean hiring a mentor. I'm not saying you have to do that. I think it's an absolute must
Mm.
at some point.
Hmm.
And the sooner you do that, the more faster you're going to move
Yeah.
forward. But that being said, if you're just dipping your toe in the water and then find a community. There's plenty of online
Yes.
communities or local
Yes.
communities of people that can support you in helping you shine your light. Because that's why my podcast is called Be She.
Hmm.
Be seen, be heard, be empowered. Because Sarah, when I started my business, I helped it stalled for so long because of
Mm.
my fear of being seen.
Yeah.
I was so scared of being seen to the point where I was in a group coaching program and I was communicating with one of the members. She was crushing it. She
Mm.
was making so much money, and I was just watching her in awe. And she was doing the things, and I'm like, I can't do that. I can't like put my
Mm.
turn go live. What's that? Like, I will die. I'll die. So she called me forward in a DM in the messenger, and she was like, I have a challenge for you. Will you accept it? And I said, sure. So
Mhm.
thinking, how bad could this be? Right. Right. So she goes, I never thought she'd come up with this. She goes, I want you to go live right now in the group. And it's a private group. So it's not
Mm.
like the whole world
Yeah,
would see me.
right.
But I thought the whole world, because that's how it
Yes,
felt.
yes.
And she said, I want you to go live. And this is your topic, my breakdown to my breakthrough. And immediately my chest got tight, my
Hmm.
throat closed. I
Hmm.
started sweating, I started shaking, and my stomach, I thought I was going to throw up,
Yeah.
honestly. So she goes, I want to support you and I'm here to support you, but you need to do it now because I'm across the pond in England. So if you
Hmm.
don't do it, I need to go to bed. It's after
Yeah.
midnight. So I had no choice because I committed. She's like, you
Yes.
committed. And I'm like, okay, I want to hold on to my word. So I started crying before I hit the live button. I went live and I was bawling, Sarah. Like when I say bawling, my eyes were puffy. I
Mm.
looked like I had the flu.
Mm.
And I was bawling, my eyes were puffy. I was hyperventilating and trying to get it out. And then I got through it and I hit end and she got back in the DM. She goes, congratulations. I'm so proud of you. I have another challenge. Will you accept it? And I was like, what? And I said, how bad could this be? How bad is it? I just did the worst thing I could ever do. And she said, I want you to go live 5 more times over the next 5 days. I said, good night. And I went to bed. I went to bed. So I went to bed, full on migraine was setting in. So I was like, I get to go to sleep. I went to bed. I woke up the next day and I woke up to so many comments inside of that Facebook group, thanking me for showing up vulnerably, thanking me for, getting out of my comfort zone, inspiring them to not go live because they had a fear, or inspiring them to do something that was scary for them that day. The coach inside of that program, one of the coaches, did an impromptu training that day around my live stream and around vulnerability and the power of showing up vulnerable and being yourself and doing it scared. And I share that because it is scary anytime we're stepping out of our comfort zone, but that's another way of finding out who we are. You asked that question in the beginning. How do we find out who we are? You find out by going through challenges and seeing how strong you really are. You find out who you are by stepping out of your comfort zone and doing the things that are scary anyway.
Yeah.
And you find out who you are, for me, by asking for support and not lone wolfing it, because I'm a recovering perfectionist and I never wanted to see anybody see me as weak.
I know.
So asking for help showed me as weak in my mind. But actually, when you show up support, asking for support equals showing your strength.
Yeah.
Because and you're also allowing someone else, like if I reached out to you, Sarah, for support, or you needed support from me, I'm grateful that you asked me, because now you're allowing me to serve you. And as humans, we want to share, we want to serve. It makes us feel good to do something for you. But if I offer help and you say no, then I'm like, it's like, I feel if I say no to someone now, it's selfish.
Yeah.
Meaning I can say no with my boundaries. That's a whole different conversation, right?
Yeah.
But when somebody wants to support me in some way, I used to say no because I didn't want to put them out, or I didn't want to I didn't want to seem weak. Now I'm like, yes, I receive, because I'm allowing them to serve, because it makes us feel good to help each other.
Yeah. And everything you've just said, I completely relate to. People won't kind of get it because I do this all the time, that I am an introvert. I prefer small groups. If I'm at a party, I mean, I used to be gregarious, but it was to hide my introvertedness, right? Kind of become the clown in order to hide how scared you are amongst people. And I was thrown into this live shows when somebody said, I want you to join my network, my podcast network. And I didn't even know what a podcast was. And this is nearly 12 years ago now. And the first day I pressed all the wrong buttons and I did all the wrong thing. And then doing live, anything can happen. And so, but it was a real great training ground. I call it the soap opera training, because they're thrown in, you've got a little rehearsal on camera, right? So no rehearsal with us, we're just straight into the camera. And I didn't know, because we're brought up in human society ready to be judged, ready to be persecuted. If we don't live up to somebody else's standard, we're going to be torn and quartered. And that's kind of what we're brought up to be. And so many people do not blossom into the flower they should be, because they're so scared to let someone down, or to embarrass themselves, or embarrass their family, when really they're meant to be that flower. We're holding that flower back by these stupid expectations of what they should be. There is no perfection. There are perfect moments in our lives, perfect moments that we cherish. And that was perfect. The taste of the moment, the feeling was perfect, but it cannot hold on to that perfection. And if it did, we would take it for granted. That's why we have perfect moments. So to hold this thing up that we've got to be perfect, and we see this in society with celebrities. We'll put them up on a pedestal. God help them if they become human.
Right? They're the first ones judged.
You look at what's happening with Taylor Swift and this whole football thing. Really? I mean, come on.
And don't get me started on that.
No, this is just bitching for bitching's sake, and people getting on the bandwagon. This has got nothing to do with Taylor Swift. This has got everything to do with the people that are bitching. It is their inner compass that's saying to them, you need to blossom, you need to be more. And they're hiding behind that judgment, that inner persecution, and they're reflecting it out. So
Mhm.
don't take things personally when someone is attacking you, right? And sometimes it can be mirroring how you feel about yourself. And sometimes,
Mhm.
it's just they're going through something and they need to dump it, right? You can hear them, wish them well, but don't let them in. Don't let them come in and
Exactly.
upset your equilibrium. We have no idea what we're capable of doing until we do it. And
Mhm.
every single thing I've done in my life, because I didn't finish school, I was a very sickly child, missed a great deal of schooling, and I wasn't educated to get into those jobs. But I was the first woman rep for Mobile Oil in South Africa, knew nothing about oil. I talked my way into the job, right? I taught my way into a number of jobs and found out whether I liked it or didn't like it while I was doing it, whether I was good at it or not good at it while I was doing it. What did I need to learn from it? And I realized I was a disruptor. I was there to
Mhm.
shake things up and show what was wrong and then move on. And I didn't
Mhm.
realize I was that until hindsight. You look back and you look at that pattern. It was to shake things up, which seems to be my pattern in life. The discovery of how courageous we are, the discovery of our inner strength, the discovery of our abilities, the discovery of that passion that gets you up every day to do what you do, that discovery to make a difference in somebody else's life is the very nectar and the fuel that fuels us to move forward in life and to step into that and to find that and to let
Mhm.
that light beacon out for someone else that's in the dark is truly a beautiful journey to have.
Mhm. And how spectacular that you said yes, even though you had no idea what you were doing to start to be on that journey of podcasting, right? 12 years ago.
Yeah.
If you said no to that or gave up after your first day, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here right now.
No,
And you wouldn't be shining your
3,500
light.
shows, 10 and a half
Yeah,
years of my own
exactly.
network. Yes, yeah. And I didn't know I
Exactly.
could
So
do this. I do all the technical. I do wear all the hats. I didn't know
yeah.
I was capable of doing that. All right. Yes, I'm limited on certain things, but all the time that willing to learn in the capacity that you can learn, or if you can delegate or invite other people to help you, because
Yeah.
most people want to see you succeed. Those that don't
Yes.
are people that are having issues with their own life and they need to work that out. And if you can help them, you can help them. If they're not wanting your help, then they need to work it out. But most people with a human heart, with a divine soul, want to see you succeed.
Exactly. The percentage of people that want you to succeed is much higher than the
Yes.
people who aren't cheering you on. And as I said earlier, sometimes it's not our closest to us, which is
Yes.
fine. They'll
Yes.
come on board later. Many times their own fear of you failing. They don't want you
Yeah.
to be hurt because they love you.
Yeah.
So they want to protect you. So they kind of want to hold you back so you don't get hurt. And that's
Right.
okay. That's their love shining through, and
Yeah.
that's how they show it. But I love that you said that most people want to see you succeed, because for me, I held myself back at the beginning too, for fear of, oh, well, if I put myself out there and I go live and I let everybody know what I'm doing,
Yeah.
then these family members will know, these
Yeah.
people from my kids'
Yeah.
school will know, these moms or what,
Yeah.
and they're going to think, who the heck is she to be doing this? And
Right.
my own negative self-talk,
God,
when at the end of the
societal chatter. That is
right.
what
And
society chats at all the time that we take in. We
yes,
absorb. Why? Why? Why do we absorb that negativity so much?
I think it's some, for many of us, it's our own personal journey we need to move through in order to
Hmm.
get over that. But also, like, they're not thinking about us. They're
No,
not spending their day thinking about what I'm doing in
right.
or not doing inside of my business or with my kids and my family. They have their own things that they're working through, and they may show up perfectly on social. They
Yeah,
may, because they're only showing the good stuff, but behind the scenes, everybody is going through their own
exactly.
stuff at some point or the other. If you, when you, if you hopefully you do, hopefully you have a calling on your heart. find someone that can support you. Reach out to
Yes.
Sarah, reach out to me, reach out to people who you know that are going to be cheering you on. Surround yourself with those cheerleaders
Yes.
and be willing
Yes.
to fail forward. If Sarah didn't do what she
Yes.
did 12 years ago and mess up all the buttons, one, she wouldn't be where she is now. And two, it's an amazing story. It's an inspiring story. And we don't have stories to share if we're not doing the things and stepping out of our comfort zone to create them.
The
And
thing
that's
is,
part of living our best life too.
exactly. That first time you did that talk and you bawled and you let it all out, you gave permission for other people to be vulnerable. You showed the vulnerability. One of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves is our vulnerability. One of the most
Mhm.
honorable gifts you can give someone else in trust is our vulnerability. To be vulnerable is to show I am human. I am broken, but I'm flawsome. We take all
Mhm.
those broken pieces and we put it back together with self-love. And now it is something so strong, unbreakable, like a beautiful bowl that you can fill with love and it will just cup runneth over because it's been put back together with love. And it cannot be broken again. We're flawsome from our
I love that.
flaws, from our beautiful things that have happened to us that have caused those cracks and those breaks. We put ourselves back together with love, that our cup can't help but runneth over.
So beautiful. I've had you're enlightening me, Sarah. I haven't heard flossom either. And if I
It's
have
a lovely
permission to
word,
use
isn't it?
that,
Oh
it's a
no,
lovely word. I want to use it.
oh
If
no,
it's
please. I want this word to be out there. Because, who hasn't got a flaw or two? A diamond that is worth more has a flaw in it,
Mhm.
right? We look
Yes.
at things that have that little something that's different. And we do get broken apart. But that's kind of part of that atom, get broken apart to come back together. And what we
Mhm.
bring back together are the pieces that are meant to come together. And you glue it with self-love, it's not going to break apart again, right?
Mm-mm.
Right. So that's the whole point of going through adversity and challenges in life is how do we put ourselves back together? In what way? How do we become awesomely flawsome and
I love
empowered
that.
and illuminating? It is
Yes.
because we've taken all those broken pieces in our beautiful vulnerability and put ourselves back together. We know what is important now. And so
Yeah.
everything that we share out with love.
Mhm. In order to grow, we need to have breakthroughs, and we can't have
Exactly.
breakthroughs come through our breakdowns. So
Exactly.
we can't break through unless we're broken down. And
Mhm.
as we're rebuilding, as you said, our breakthroughs happen. And then we're
Yeah.
able to get to our next version of ourselves. And then we have a breakdown. Then we break through and reach our next version of ourselves. So it's a process. So now I've come to the point, and I work with my clients on this all the time, no matter whether it's in your life or in your business. If you're in breakdown, we can have two choices. We can either succumb to it and sit in it, or we can embrace it and say, thank you. Because I know
Yes.
I'm on the verge. I'm on the other side of this, and it could be 5 minutes, it could be 5 days. But on
Mhm.
the other side of this is my breakthrough, which is getting me to my next step, which
Exactly.
is amazing.
And also, don't think that every breakdown is a bottoming out,
Mm-mm.
right? It is just
Correct.
it I've been going through this in this last couple of months. I love Chinese New Year. I always call it the second chance at New Year. So if New Year didn't start off right, you get a second chance at Chinese New Year, which is
Mhm.
coming up the 11th of February. We always do these shows a week before. And it's the year of the dragon, which is authority and accomplishment. We're in the year of the eight, which is abundance. And there is also a cosmic atmosphere out there of change, of things that are happening. So if you've been seeding, this is the time for harvest time. This is for times of the next elevation of whatever you're doing in your life. And it's exciting. So, like what I've been going through, because I'm putting out an anthology. The 20th of February is an anthology
Ah,
book of our Forgotten Children book, which is each person has contributed a chapter on what we need to change for our children and families so that they have that strength to grow up to be beautiful adults and not dysfunctional adults that go around shooting each other and feeling left behind and or
mhm.
becoming narcissists and things like that we're seeing evident right now. But I took this on myself and wearing all the hats again and necks being rather wobbly. And then just like a traffic jam, which happens in any business, you go
Mhm.
and plan, this is going to happen then, and this is going to happen then, and this is going to happen then. Well, this gets delayed, that gets delayed. The next thing you know, you're in a traffic jam. Everything is
Mhm.
happening at the same time. Right. And so you have to kind of put those balls up in the air. What's the immediate one I need to deal with? Okay, okay, I know you're
Mhm.
dropping. Just wait a moment. Let me finish with this one. Grab that one.
Right.
And there's no breathing time in between. And then you get through to the other end and it's done. And you felt like you were losing your mind and you felt that everything was and then you see what happens because of it. And then you just realized you have broken through to another level. You have broken
Mhm.
through to another level that you could look at that you never ever in a month of Sundays thought you could do. And that is
Right.
just so triumphant, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And you wouldn't have known that unless
No,
you decided to take this on that you've never done before. So
exactly.
congratulations. I'm so excited for you. Any way I can support you in promoting this, let me know, and
I
I'm happy
will
to.
I will send
Yeah.
you the link on
Awesome.
Facebook, and please do, because it's a fundraiser as well for organizations that are supporting families and children already. So all the proceeds
Beautiful.
gets divvied out to each author's organization. So it's an awareness, a careness, and a fundraiser. So and an
I love
important
it.
thing, because I do think an awful the reason why marriages go wrong, and why many things go wrong, is because there's an injured child inside of us. These expectations that we were brought up to be, which are we cannot live up to because they're an illusion. And a child that's kind of left behind because they were not seen or heard or empowered, right? All
Mhm.
of those things that are so very important. Um, that is the important thing about letting ourselves look at what's wrong and how can we be a part of putting it right. We are in the era of woman. Woman is blossoming. Woman is coming out into the world
Mhm.
right now. She is stepping out into her beautiful flawsomeness, her awesomeness. She is becoming that solution that is so desperately needed in bringing calmness, rationalization, or organization back to the world. And so,
Mhm.
for any women going through anything right now in that transition, and they're saying, but I really would love to do this because I really think it's needed out there. If you want to do this because you think there's a need for it out there, please follow that path. Please
Mhm.
follow that path because you feel there's a need. I guarantee you there's a need. And we need someone like you that's going to address that need and empower the healing of it.
Absolutely. And step into responsibility because you
Yes.
mentioned that, when divorce happens, it's easy when a relationship breaks up or there's a breakdown in business or whatever it is to shed blame, right? To play the blame game. Well, if this person did this differently or this person did this, so I did this. At the end of the day, when there's two sides of that coin, right? So taking responsibility for wherever you are in your
Yeah.
life, and and by responsibility I mean like owning it. Okay, I'm not in a position where I want to be right now. Yes, I'm going through a divorce. Let's just
Yes.
say that. Going through divorce. Okay, I have two choices. I can blame the other person and
Yeah.
sit in this for longer, or I can take responsibility and go, okay, I had an equal part in this.
Yeah.
Now, what is my responsibility in going forward, and how
Yeah.
am I going to navigate my future now? And what's my next step? And you don't have to think about 10 years from now
No.
when you're in this moment. Just think, what's my next step? Because sometimes when we're in something, just taking that baby step, but taking responsibility is empowering. It's
Yes.
it's stepping into your power versus remaining a victim. And you have two choices, and no matter what's going on, even in your business, if your
Yeah.
business isn't where you want it to be, you have two choices. Are we going to play the blame game and play victim?
Yeah.
You can do that. That's a choice, right? Everybody has a choice. You can do that, but it's going to keep you stalling or keep you stuck longer.
Yeah.
Or we can take responsibility and go, okay, I am here. I own it. Now, what do I get to do? What's the next baby step I can take in order to get this ball rolling?
It's taking control.
Taking control
It's putting hands on the wheel.
responsibly.
Yes. Right?
Yes,
You're now in the
yes,
driver's seat. You're not being driven anymore. Right?
exactly.
You can get out of the nagging. It's
Yeah,
now you in the driver's seat, right?
yes,
You've got to navigate this path here.
absolutely.
So the
Mhm.
responsibilities that you pay attention to where you are driving to and where and when and but also is then becomes that control of like it is my choices now. And to understand, I guarantee you will make some wrong choices along the way. That's part of
Mhm.
your learning curve. Look at it as a lesson. Please don't beat yourself up over it, right?
Yeah,
It is a learning curve. It is something you've learned. I tried that. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. That was a wrong move. What have I learned from it? How can I pivot and redirect? Know that you're going to pivot, 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 pivot many times. Be
absolutely.
flexible.
Yes, and give yourself grace.
Yes.
I see so many people, women, especially, and I'm all about women in their business and empowering them. But I see so many words around balance and creating this
Yes.
work life balance, and I was on board with that until recently. I gave that theory up. I'm like, you know what? I've been trying so long to strive for work life balance, and it just doesn't exist in my world.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes my work is going to take precedence, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes my life is going to take precedence, and I get to navigate that. And so instead of trying to create work life balance, my goal, my aim is work life grace. Give
Yes.
myself grace when I'm navigating that what is that called? That seesaw or
Yes.
that
But that's the
what do you
point with the seesaw. The seesaw isn't stagnant. It isn't
Mhm.
about this or that. It's about being
Right.
able to go with the up and down within a flow that you can manage. And if you're in that
Absolutely.
rhythm of up and down in a beautiful flow, everything is manageable. When
Yeah,
things become up or down, then you're off kilter, right? And it's all
absolutely.
about getting back in. The balance isn't about one or the other. It is about the flow of the up and down and the rhythm. And it's trying
Right.
to stay in that rhythm of manageability, but to know that
Mhm.
if you have to step out of it, okay, do the cha-cha, whatever it is,
Yeah.
to get back into it,
Whatever it
right?
is. Yes. And
But as
let's
you said,
like
with
get rid of
grace,
that
with
word
grace.
guilt with grace. Like there's so
Yes.
much guilt. We hold on so
Uh,
much guilt with as women. Let's get rid of the word guilt and replace it with
yes,
grace.
absolutely. Absolutely. How are you going to become flawsome? How are you going to know what works or doesn't work unless you try? Right? Now, if you do things with loving intent and not malice or greed or power hungry, but loving intent in the view to empower, you will never go far wrong. You may make some hiccups, you may take some side roads that are cul-de-sacs. There's even a reason for that, right? You
Mhm.
know, sometimes coming to a dead stop is just pause for a moment, take a break, reflect on where you are, where you've been, that will give you more clarity of where you need to go. Pauses, silence, stopping and reflecting is important in any aspect of our life, especially our business life. It's okay to say no. It's okay to say I'm time out.
Exactly. And I just had this conversation with a client of mine last Thursday, and she needed to I'm like, take a step back,
Yeah,
pause.
yeah.
Let's put everything you have things in motion. Nobody's going to even know you're taking a step back.
Mhm.
Take a step back, regroup, give yourself some love,
Yes,
self-care. This is your time. And she took those 3 days. And on Monday, she came back reinvigorated and with creative juices flowing.
exactly.
Taking a step back doesn't mean that you're a failure,
No,
doesn't mean that that you are weak. It means that sometimes we need to take that step back in order to take 2 to 3 to 4 step forward, and it's okay.
I had an author on last week, and he's saying there is no such thing as writer's block. He said you go about your life doing whatever you're doing, and the next chapter will come to you. It doesn't
Mhm.
mean you have to sit there and write, 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 write. And if you've got the writer's block, oh, I've got the writer's block failure. No, it just means, okay, for that next chapter or that next phase of the story, go and do life. Life will present what the next one is. And sometimes taking that step back or stepping aside or just going and doing something utterly different,
Mhm.
it turns on those switches for you to see what you need to see when you need to see it.
Absolutely. And that was one thing that I did in my business at the beginning. I was going.
Yeah.
So I was doing. I was taking no time for me. I wasn't, there was no pauses.
Mm.
It was just 2 jobs, kids, to school, pick up school activities, and then working at night trying to build business, and then rinse and repeat every single
Yes.
day on that cycle. There was
Treadmill.
no time for me. So
Yeah.
creativity, vulnerability and creativity, that wasn't happening because I didn't
No.
have time to be
No.
vulnerable. I didn't even have time to cry.
Right.
So really having, like you said, taking that step back, sometimes, especially for women, you need to open up emotionally. We need to feel. Feeling is healing. So if we're not
Yes.
feeling, if we're not allowing those tears to flow, if you're going through something, it's okay. We don't have to always be in that doer's masculine
Yeah.
mentality, because when we're doing that, we're actually stalling our growth, especially in our
Mm.
business, versus allowing those moments to flow, and those tears to flow, that emotion to come through, even laughter,
Yeah.
whether it's
Oh
crying or
boy.
laughter.
Yes.
If you're not laughing, if we're not crying, we're just in that go mode and there's zero creativity flowing. Vulnerability doesn't exist. We can't connect with our audience, right? If we're building a business, we can't connect because we have nothing to share with them. We're
No
robotic.
clarity. No clarity
No
whatsoever.
clarity.
None.
Yes, I
And
love that you talked about that.
we've got to be engaged with self in order to bring
Mhm.
engagement. It doesn't
Absolutely.
matter what business you're in, or whether you're in business or not, you are your business. So when people meet you, you are a reflection of everything you are and everything you do. You may wear
Mhm.
different hats. I'm an accountant, I'm this, I'm that. That's your hat. That's what you do. But who you are is a representation of who you will be in every aspect, your business, your social life. Obviously, in your social life, a little more relaxed, business, maybe a little more decorum. But at the same time, people want to know, if I meet you in the grocery store, if I meet you in the boardroom, are you the same person at the core? Because I'm buying you before I buy from you. And if you're not giving yourself time to be the authentic, beautiful, empowered you, then how can you
Mhm.
serve anyone else?
Absolutely. And this is, you said in business, also relationships, like you were sharing around
Mm,
society, like in your relationship, if your relationship isn't where you want it to be, take a step back and self-reflect. How am I showing up in this
yeah.
relationship? Because we can always play that blame game. And how am I showing up for that other person? Am I laughing? Am I
Yes.
crying? Am I being emotional? Am I being engaging? Because how are they supposed to connect with me if I'm just going, doing, and it's running that rat race every single day? So it's really, and I know for me and my marriage, one of the reasons that ended is because it was just rinse and repeat every
Yes.
day, right? And
Yeah.
it was always just like, these are our responsibilities. This is what we're doing. And we lost that connection
Yeah.
because there was no emotion. There was no me being vulnerable and opening up and saying, hey, this is what I need from you.
Well,
Vulnerability was
you
definitely
both lost
missing.
your connection with self, and
Yes,
therefore also lost connection with selves. Right. So,
exactly.
and that's the important thing. If we're not connected to self, what are we bringing to the relationship?
Absolutely.
Right. So
Yep.
disconnection. So,
Yes.
I don't believe in failure unless you have sat down and given up and given in. I believe everything
Mhm.
is a redirect or a lesson, and everything
Yes.
is an invitation. And what we look is for the inspiration that becomes that invitation to help us on our path of life so we can be that inspiration for someone else. So
Yeah.
somebody that's wanting to be an entrepreneur or has an idea or is in that situation, I have got to do something and I've got children at home or I've got someone I've got to look after. I don't want to go and work for the boss. I want to be my own boss. What are you offering them and how can they reach you? What's your procedure, please, love?
Absolutely. I am. You can reach me on my website. You can check that out. It's HeidiSchalk.com. I'm also all over social media. So Heidi Schalk Coaching on Instagram. I'm Heidi Schalk on Facebook. Also, I have a business page. You can find me on LinkedIn. But I have a program called for brand new beginners. I work with beginners. I also work with seasoned entrepreneurs. But we just launched this program and it's amazing because I wish I had this when I started. When I started, I joined a program and it was a good program, but I had to invest more money, thousands after, to implement the strategies that they were teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me out because I was literally like, just joining the program was over the top for me.
Right.
So
Yeah.
now finding that out, it took me mentally out of the game. So we put together what's called business in a box. So if you're just getting started or you've been on this entrepreneurial road and you're not where you want to be, we teach you exactly, we help you build one funnel, which means one signature virtual event that you can rinse and repeat easily over and over and over again to build your audience, show up as the authority and expert in your space, and continuously enroll clients. Because if we're not enrolling clients into our business, we don't have a business. We have a
Right.
hobby. Without
Right.
revenue, we have a hobby. We don't want a hobby. We want a business. So
Mm.
we're going to teach you how to do that right away. We're also going to teach you how to I have a money system. It's a 5-step system, which stands for marketing. We're going to teach you exactly how to market to grow that audience and get clear on your messaging, master your messaging, get your signature irresistible offer out there. How are you filling the gap compared to the other people in your space, so you can fill your program easily with ideal clients that are meeting that gap that you're filling? Your network is your net worth. How
Mm-hmm.
to expand your network by getting on other people's stages. For example, your podcast is an other person's stage for me to be on. My
Exactly.
podcast is another person's
Mm-hmm.
stage for you to be on.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we grow your network so you
Mm-hmm.
can grow your audience by leveraging other people's audiences or stages? Then
Spider web.
enrollment.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, enrollment. And it's a mutual reciprocal
Yes.
relationship. This is
Mm-hmm.
relational networking,
Yeah.
not what can I get from you.
Right.
It's symbiotic. And
Yeah.
then the E stands for enrollment, how to easily enroll clients into your business consistently. So we're not feeling salesy. As
Mm.
females, sometimes we don't like to ask for money. It's
Exactly.
scary. It's
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So we make it super simple for you and non-salesy, where it just flows. And they're asking you how to work with you. And
Mm.
then the Y stands for you, because at the end of the day, like you said, Sarah, people are buying you.
Yeah.
It's how you're showing up, and it's your quirks. It's the things
Yeah.
that you want to hide and put down. Like we want to stand out from the crowd, right? So
Mm.
how are we going to help support you and getting you showing up, helping you show up authentically, so you can create that corner of the market that only you have, that sets you apart from the crowd and has people wanting to work with you consistently. So that's our money system. It's called Business in a Box, and it's an amazing program, and I'm really excited about it because it's specifically for new entrepreneurs. And we're also giving you all of our tech. So tech was
Mm.
very intimidating for me. So
Yeah.
we're going to teach you how to build that email list, what platforms you can easily continue email marketing on. We're going to also show you how to build your opt-in funnel so you can grow that email list, and also create those landing pages for your signature event, so you can have people coming in and rolling into your events. And you can go to businessinaboxacademy.com to go check that out.
Excellent. And of course, your site is Heidi Schalk. I'm going to spell that for people listening. HEIDISCHALK.com. And of course, you've got the cultivate the millionaire mindset, HeidiStarkCoaching.com summit gift, which you're gifting to everybody. And you're
Yes.
on the Facebook, a couple of Facebooks, Instagrams, Threads, LinkedIn, TikTok, and the BeShePodcast.com. Go and listen to her
Yes.
own podcasts as well, and keep on the illumination. Everybody starts somewhere. Right? Nobody gets over
Mhm.
there and they just went from beginning to end. It was the process that they kept building and building and building till they got there. And so it doesn't matter who you are. I'm just a housewife. No, no. You're a woman who already knows how to multitask. You're already in management, all right? You're already in sales. You're already in counseling. Just how do you transfer the
Organization.
organization? You've just got
Mm.
to transfer those skills, right, into something you love to do. Because if your heart is not in it, I guarantee you will not succeed. Your heart
Absolutely.
has got to be in it, because that is your generator that gets you up every day during the bad days, the good days. It is the generator that keeps you going. Your heart must be in it. So find something that switches you on, right? That
Yeah.
illuminates you, and then you will become illuminating. Thank you so much, Heidi. This has been illuminating. Do come back again. There's obviously so much more to talk
Uh,
about.
Thank you so much, Sarah. This has been such a joy, and I learned so much for you. I Flossom. That was just,
It's a lovely word. I heard
I
it a
love
few
it.
years
I love
ago,
it.
and I'm a big advocate for it, because it really does, show how awesome we can be because of
Mm.
all the flaws and all the cracks and all the breaks, because that's what puts us back together again with love, right? That
Absolutely.
self-love is going to be your currency in life. And it will get you
Yes.
anywhere and everywhere. So that comes first, your self-love. So thank you so
Mm.
much, Heidi. And to everyone
Thank you,
else out
Sarah.
there, I don't care where you're starting from. I don't care how bumpy the ride is. Take it. Go with it. Find that something that switches you on. That's something that leads you forward. You can do it. I know you can. I know you can. Just believe you can, and you will find that path. But reach out to Heidi because she's got this very simple program that I wish had been around when I started, just to give you
Me
that
too.
template in which to build from and create your own style from. So until next time, folks, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tag at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.